find a community where you feel seen, you have space to express yourself in some way, vocally, physically, because once that energy starts to move, it gets harder to suppress.
Mhm.
Once it's alive and the voice grows, you will struggle to keep it quiet. And that's what we want. We want it to start getting this life of its own so that
From the
we
s
can step back.
from the spark to the flame. Yes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Authentic Conversations. Oh, thank you so much for joining us. If this is your first time, well, then welcome, welcome. I am Amarelis, and we have a special guest with us today, and we pass it on to Susan. Good morning.
Good morning. So I'm Susan, and we are blessed enough to have Lexi De La Rosa in the house today. She is she's fabulous. She's fabulous. And she's going to tell us a little bit about her story. And her story is one of following her heart, you know. So what I know of Lexi, and we've spent some time together over the last few years. What I know of Lexi is that she has a passion and a gift. And sometimes we struggle to allow ourselves the freedom to follow our dreams. And Lexi is one that just kind of said, you know what, enough is enough. I am going to follow my dream. And like she's, living her life. So Lexi, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Susan. I'm so grateful to be here. Um, I think where you started is a really cool place to kind of jump in to my story, how we were connected, because honestly, I found yoga at a very special and kind of critical time in my life. When I wanted something to lean on. I wanted something to challenge me physically, because that's just the type of person I am. I need something, I need progress. That's something that really inspires me, it motivates me. And a lot of that is through my physical body, through working out, through milestones. And so I felt like yoga was something that could continuously challenge me. And so I didn't want to just do yoga. I wanted to take it as far as possible. I wanted to do my teacher training. And I had just gotten out of college and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I did deep down, but I
Yes.
wasn't ready to admit that to myself and admit that it was possible because that was a scary thing. Um, so yeah, we found each other through yoga, which is a very critical part of my life. And ever since I did my yoga teacher training, my life has completely flipped upside down. Um, was it because of the yoga? Was it because of the people? Was it because of the books, the universe, all the things, all of it combined? But I really think that it's special that we know each other through something that was so big for me. And now here we are again, back to talk about it.
And I love that. And timing, timing is always perfect. So when you say, was it one thing? I really think it's everything. It is the people and the education and the understanding and the awareness. And, I love what you said about knowing, I call it the knowing, gnawing, nagging, it's the thing inside of us that we have trouble saying out loud for fear of how other people will react to it. So we kind of like keep this deep secret about who we really are. And at some point we have to free that. At some point we have to free that. And how blessed and lucky for you, in your early 20s to be able to say, no, wait, pause, hold on. I've learned enough about myself that I can actually speak my truth and not worry about how others view my path.
So, Lexi, can you tell us what incident, okay, you take this yoga class, you're finished college where you feel like, you should be already in this job, an adult. What happened that got you to this little vibe, niggling feeling in your gut that's saying, this is not aligned. This is not me. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. That's such a great question. It's probably my favorite question to answer, because I think it's a lot more obvious than people think it's going to be. Um, what's not easy is allowing yourself to lean into the uncomfortable things that, like you said, Susan, are nagging at you. They're they're not small nuances. They're very big and they're there and they're present. Um, it could be as small as one of the things for me was weather. The cold is something that I physically have such a hard time dealing with. Um, my skin, my voice, which is essentially my job right now. Um, so many things, my sleep patterns. I noticed that like from a pretty young age that it was just a struggle for me to keep up with and to live with, particularly. But I found that every time I went to the beach, I was rejuvenated, I was revived. I could spend hours in the sun. Humidity never bothered me. And so those were some of the little ones that I was like, where can I find a place where I could always get these things that fill me up, that recharge my battery, that I feel so aligned with? That was a smaller one. A bigger one was I actually went through a breakup with someone I was with, and I thought I was going to marry. I thought I was going to move with this person. And interestingly enough, we had been together for 4 years, but I went to therapy immediately after. And it was only, I would say, 2 months before I was excited to be alone and to be not free, but I felt like doors had opened immediately after that. Um, so that was a really big catalyst. And when I look back on it, the 2 months felt like, wow, I'm taking forever to move past this. But in reality, it was a hop, skip, and a jump that led me to move from New York, completely uproot my life, my dog, and just all the answers became clear. There was just no longer any confusion. It felt like now that I was by myself, I could hear everything that I needed to do next.
That is so awesome. And that's what we talk about. We talk about taking time to really listen to who we are, tuning out all of the naysayers, all of the negativity, all of the external, should be. And, like, it's like, people want to tell you where you should be. But the truth is that only you know what you're aligned with
Mhm.
or what's right for you. So I would love to talk about what it is you're doing now and then how you got there, because like people want to know now. They're like, all right, who is this chick and what does she do? And how does that fit into the dream?
Mm, okay. So I think I'll give like the grand scope of my dream ever since I was little, um, was to bring Disney stories to life. And that meant singing, that meant voicing characters, dressing up, seeing people, because guest facing is so important to me. I have discovered and rooted myself in that the way that I serve others is by, yes, telling these stories, but providing people that moment, that escape, that relatability through these fairy tale creatures or these made up fictional characters that they travel far and wide to see because they identify them with them in some way or they bring them some kind of joy and excitement. That fills me up. I would do that for free. I would do that till I dropped dead. Like, and I know that is what I'm meant to do. So I moved to Florida and I wanted to work in the parks. That was just never a question. It was never like I knew the parks was where I wanted to be, on the ground with people. And so right now, I am a singer at Universal Studios, so Disney's neighbor, and I perform there. So I sing, I dance, I act, and that is my job.
You bring joy. You bring joy. And Lexi,
Yeah.
from the moment I met you, you had a light, and there was just this understanding of joy, the essence of joy. And, the fact that you've been able to, take it from this, from your small arena to, sharing joy with a much larger percentage or much larger population, is so fabulous. It's so fabulous. So you get up every morning and you're singing.
Every morning, and I get to put on a character, and I get to go out there and I get to sing, and I get to see so many different faces throughout the day, in the beautiful Florida heat, which I wouldn't trade for anything,
Even in August, huh?
even in August.
Well, that
So
says a
Lexi,
lot.
like, what happened? Like, what? And so you kind of like always knew you wanted to be an actor. Did you study acting when you went to college? Were you going in a different path? And then all of a sudden it was like, I need to change this at all. And for anyone who's sort of like in this pathway that you were in, this crossroad where you're like, something keeps telling you this is not you, what would you advise them to do? Because this is a huge thing. You did not only just like change like careers, but you also change states.
Yeah, very true. So actually, in school, I was very academically strong. In high school, I graduated second in my class, and that was a really like green light for a lot of my educators to push me into academia further. So I did musicals and all of those things while I was in high school, but I was told that it was a hobby. Not that there weren't people that did support me, there were people that did, but the I was, she's great in academics. You should be an engineer. Take a look at these schools. So I went to a fabulous school. I love that school, Carnegie Mellon. I wouldn't trade it. It's incredible. Pittsburgh is fabulous. And I went there as an engineer to start. Surprise.
Woo.
Yeah, I followed the words of what people told me. I said, okay, they
Yeah.
must know better. I'm only 17. What
What
do
do I
I
know?
know?
What do I know? Right.
Yeah, what do I know?
Little did you know everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think, thankfully, I am so grateful for my parents because from a very young age, no, forever, my parents have always told me, follow your dreams and the money will follow. Follow your
Mm.
dreams and whatever else will follow. So those subconscious words, that mantra, I've lived with for forever. And I guess saying it out loud, I've never been lost. I've always known, and I'm grateful to have had them to really have buzzed that into my mind ever since I was a baby. Because when I got into college and I was taking these engineering classes, first year, first semester, I knew immediately. I said, I cannot do this. I cannot do this. This feels so incredibly wrong. I am in pain
Yeah.
moving forward.
I mean, you could have done it. You could have done it. You had the skills and ability to do it, but it was misaligned. It was totally, you're an artist and you work on joy and creativity, and engineering is so structured and so technical. You know what I mean? It just didn't align. You could do anything you want. You just
Right.
knew that it was not your thing.
I
Yeah.
love that verbiage so much because I did try my best.
Mm.
I
I
believe that.
I spoke to people that were already in the, I'm an information gatherer. I want more information before I make decisions. Um, Especially in the beginning when I was scared to trust my intuition a lot more. And so I wanted more concrete physical world information and evidence. So I would talk to people that were already in the field. I was like, okay, if I get a sense of how they're doing, maybe I'll see if this is the right fit for me. I would talk to my professors. I would look ahead in the curriculum to see what I would be doing. And so you're so right. I could have done that if I just kept my head down and I just did my best.
Mhm.
Ignored the rest of it.
Ignored it all. The pain. I would get sick very frequently too. That was another big red flag. So after first semester, I did all of that work, and I actually didn't do well in my first semester. As hard as I tried, it still wasn't enough. Um, And that was the final straw. Not that I needed the validation to come back for me, but I knew that I was doing as much as I could, and I was trying, and I wanted to do well, and that wasn't happening. So I switched majors after my first semester. I switched into decision science, which is just more of like it was like psych, business, econ, stats. I was like, I'm okay with this because it's taking less of my time and I can do more music because I was still in the mind frame of I need a practical major. So that way
And
when I
a
graduate,
good fun hobby, right? Practical. Yes.
yes, I was like, Lexi, you're smart and you have other skills that mean more and are more valuable than what you're passionate about. What you're passionate about is just for fun. And that
Hmm.
was still in my brain, especially on the financial side. Like these were all rationales that I tried to tell myself. And being alone was also really tricky because I was far away from my parents and my comfort and the places that I took refuge. So I changed my major, but I did way more music. I did more musicals. I was dancing. I, started running organizations with that. And so after I graduated, I kind of lost all of it. I lost the practical stuff and I lost my passion because I didn't have a place to go. It was
Well, you didn't see the link between them. You
yes.
didn't see that you could turn your passion into your fortune. I mean, unfortunately, at the time, you could not see the link between who you really are and what you're meant to do and how it's going to serve you.
Mm, could not see that. And I didn't find, or maybe I didn't seek out both the guidance to help me figure that out because I didn't have the right questions yet. I didn't even know what the questions were.
Yeah.
you know,
We don't
all
know. We don't know what we don't know until we have this like eureka moment or until the dots are connected. And that's the fabulous part. And you are not alone. So many students attend college and universities under the premise of what other people think is best for them because of the job outlook or the financials or whatever it is that's the impetus that's important in their family or in their culture. They get pushed into something they're misaligned with, and then they come out and then they feel disheartened that they're not excited about pursuing something that they just spent 4 years. It's such a cycle. It's such a disservice. I'm curious to know, like, was it the yoga that allowed your inner voice to become your own? Because your inner voice is always the voices of others. When we listen to ourselves, we're really listening to what other people have said to us repeatedly over the years. But at some point, we can turn that into our own thoughts. So what we're thinking is based on who we really are, not what other people are telling us. Like, is that kind of the magic that shifted?
um I would say yes, fundamentally, because I actually started yoga when I was in college, my senior year. Um, I found a really incredible teacher that I loved. And after that, after graduating, didn't I didn't really work yet. Um, and I found the Body Art Barn. I knew about it, but I had never taken classes there. Um, and I waited a while actually post school to dive back into my practice just because again I kind of felt paralyzed after school. And to be quite honest, I didn't want to take a move. I didn't want to make a move yet. I wanted to be back home and there's a lot more understanding that I knew had to be done before I kind of committed myself anywhere. That's what I felt like a job was. I was like, this is a commitment. It's a relationship. I'm not ready to do that yet. I need to figure it out.
Yeah.
Um, And I'm grateful I had that opportunity, that my parents were willing to let me take that time and like nurture me through that process essentially. But yes, when I wow, now that I think about the origin, it wasn't random, but I was just looking up yoga teacher trainings one day. I was like, I don't want to just take yoga classes. I want to like consistently be immersed in what is yoga, like what it means to be doing yoga. Because when I started it, yes, we were doing poses and I want to do handstands, I want to do back bends. Um, but I remember there was one class, and it's actually the tattoo that I have on my arm. Um, is a beautiful song that was sang, and I could not for the life of me remember the lyrics because it was in Sanskrit.
Yes.
I was like, wow, they're repeating this over and over and over again. This is beautiful. I'm sitting there, my eyes are closed. It was the end of the class. Um, and I just start crying. I just start crying. I don't think I have anything on my mind. I'm literally just listening to the music and feeling the vibrations. And I just started to cry. Um, and then the class was over and I went about my daily life. And it wasn't until about 2.5 years later, I'm taking the yoga teacher training. I'm so pumped and excited. I love this community. I'm starting to really build relationships here. A song plays with the same lyrics. It's not the same melody, but I'm like, this is it.
That's it.
These are the lyrics. These are the lyrics that I heard when I was crying. I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is it. Okay, I'm closer. I'm getting closer. And it was like, I got these little tidbits, not hints, but these little kisses from the universe that are like,
Mhm.
you're getting closer. This is it. So I got that tattoo because it meant so much to me. Especially when I found out what it meant in English. It's Loka Samasta Sukhinu Bhavantu. That is the mantra that made me cry. Meaning may all beings be happy and free, and may my words, thoughts, and actions contribute in some way, which
Mm.
perfectly fitting for my entire life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that yoga was when I started to tune in. So maybe I didn't hear my inner voice immediately, but I learned how to be okay with noise and like funnel information, because I think one of the most powerful things that yoga taught me is like meditation and stillness is not about quieting the world or quieting your mind.
Mhm.
It's about being a witness to everything that's happening. And so when you're able to do that effectively, you can see what's meant for you. You can listen to the messages that are supposed to land or that resonate with you. And that is what I wanted to get good at. I was like, oh, it's not warrior two. It's not a handstand. It's this. This is the magic. This is
Yes.
what I need to hear. Um, and so the more that I did that, the more that I could hear things, the more that I could be that witness as opposed to trying to listen or trying to figure it out, because that was also an issue. I was like, just tell me what to do. I want to know. I want to know. I'm so eager. When it was just, if you could just take it all in, it's all there.
Mm.
Trust the process, allow it
Yes.
to unfold, yeah, it's not about your timeline. It's about, when things are, when the dots are connected, What's
So
your,
Lexi,
go
oh,
ahead.
sorry, Susie, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask. So what has been your favorite character so far and why?
Oh, character. That is tough. I will say I get to cast spells at Diagon Alley with this very awesome singing sorceress. And I will say right now that she is my favorite character because she has taught me so much about myself. Because while it may seem really great on social media, like doing all of these really fun and vibrant, high stakes performances and jobs, at the same time, I was very, very scared, um, because it's quite obvious why it's difficult for people to follow their passions. It's scary. Um, you have such a high attachment to what brings you joy. You don't want to fail at it. You want to be great at it. And a high level of comparison starts to come in when I'm working with other people in the same field, especially when it comes to art. Um, it's very easy to look to people for inspiration, yes, and then there's a nice thin line of where comparison can creep in or imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
Um, so I would say that that opportunity to sing with her is the one that has pushed me to grow the most. A little bit of backstory: Celestina Warbeck is supposed to be upwards of 125 years old in the Harry Potter world, and she's this beautiful schmaltzy singer um, that is modeled after. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna forget her name. I'm gonna forget her name. This beautiful jazz singer that I love. Her name is escaping me for the moment, but me and most of the women that get to hang out with her they're older. They have these powerful voices, and I just didn't see myself like that yet. But someone else did. So like I'm here for a reason is what I kept telling myself. Um, but every single time I get to sing with her, I'm a little scared, but I do it anyway. And every single time that happens, I am so fulfilled. So is that conditioning is not only what keeps me coming back, but it's the confirmation that this is the right place for me. And so I thank that specific character so much because it's one that I did not think I would ever, ever sing with.
I love that.
And so
And it's
leaning into that has been the most rewarding.
yes, leaning in or pushing through the edges, it's
Yes.
like yoga. It's all yoga, it's like I have nervous energy and I need to, kind of channel it and force it and feel the sensations as I make my way through. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it's still scary every single day.
And
Doesn't matter how many times it happens.
exciting, scary, exciting,
Yes.
scary.
Well,
The
I
parallel.
mean, as an actor, if you don't feel the butterflies before performing, then you're basically not there anymore.
Mm,
That nervousness is the energy, right? That's going in because of the excitement, because you want to do well, because you want to perform. You're performing the same thing over and over sometimes, and it can become to the point where you become robotic. But if you're not in tune with that, then you're not giving the audience that one. For them, it's their first time seeing you. For you, it's who knows what show, right? How many times. And that energy of knowing that this is making me nervous, that means that you really care. Because and that's what my mentor would tell me when I was always nervous about performing. And he's like, well, you care. And the day that you don't feel that is the day you should be really scared and go, what's going on? Am I just going on and singing this song, blah, blah, and saying the words and not being the character? And then you're doing a disservice to the audience that's coming to see you perform. So it's it's the best high in the world when you perform. And I tell people all the time, it's that ending of the show and that performance that makes you feel alive. So my question to you is, if there's a young artist out there who is seeing this podcast, who sees this beautiful Latina who's performing with Disney, and follows you, in Instagram, I've seen your pictures and I'm like, I feel your energy. It's just beautiful. What advice would you give her and your younger self too, right? Like this, acting for Latinos, I mean, this is beautiful. I hear you saying over and over how you had the support. And coming from a Latin root myself, sometimes acting is not what your parents want to see you, right? You went to college. They want to see you be in college, get a job that's going to pay 401k, do the right American dream. And when you want to be an artist, it's like, whoa, in which I love the fact that you had the support. That I didn't hear you saying, I'm going to be a starving artist, which we need to kill that phrase, because no, you know what, you can make a living as an artist if you find the right job that feels your soul. Because like you said, you do what makes you happy and the money will come. And the money sometimes for some of us as artists is just, as long as I can pay my rent, I am okay with that. When you're an artist and people say, oh, what show have I seen you in? Or what movie have you done? it makes you feel like, oh, I'm so little, like nobody knows who I am. But when you get over that and you realize, no, I wake up every day and I perform. And like you said, it was so beautiful, the fact that I'm giving the world my energy and I become these characters for people that come to see me at Universal Studios, these little girls that love to see Encanto and now get to see the true imaginary character, right? Because for them in their world, you are that character, right? And you have to believe it so that they can believe it. And then their dream is like, I want to be her. So
how do they get there?
Mm.
Mm.
The first thing that came to my mind when you brought up, especially my support, because like I said, saying it out loud made me realize that those voices and that constant saying, follow your dreams, everything will follow, was probably the biggest component. And even for people that don't have that and young artists who want to follow that dream, seek out community that does support you, because especially coming from someone who, struggle asking for help, um, is so definitive on the fact that she can find the answers herself or get enough information that she'll figure it out. You cannot do it all yourself. The beautiful and unfortunate fact is that we are human. Humans need community. They're very social creatures. And to that benefit, there are spaces that will allow you to thrive, that will support you through that process. And so, yeah, I did have my parents, but like we brought up before, the yoga community was the one that kind of catalyzed me to really revive the artist in myself. Sure, I was doing something different, but that's pretty much like my trampoline was where that was. So I would say the biggest step is to find a community, whether that be um, in the most unlikely place, find a community where you feel seen, you have space to express yourself in some way, vocally, physically, because once that energy starts to move, it gets harder to suppress. Once it's alive and the voice grows, you will struggle to keep it quiet. And that's what we want. We want it to start getting this life of its own so that we can step back.
From the spark to the flame. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that I'm going to add to your community is that the community space needs to be non-judgmental. So whatever it is, it needs to allow you to freely be you and support whatever that is, because I think that that's so important.
Yeah, if you're not authentically yourself, then you're still kind of living in that because even if you are following your dreams, like you said, if you're just doing the jobs to get the money and you're struggling along the way, there's a fine line between the struggle for your dreams and a struggle now because it's no longer what you're passionate about. Yeah. So I would agree, finding a space where you can authentically be you so that every choice that you make is one that comes from a place of courage, as opposed from a place of fear of, oh, I need to make this money, or I need to get this, or I need to have this title, I need to be in this show. So when you can be that, like I said, it becomes harder to follow the path that is not your own.
Yes.
I would say that's the biggest one, honestly, because even here in Florida, now that, even though I'm starting to put down roots now, I'm starting to build my community circle a little bit more. And this month is about to get really chaotic in the most amazing way for me. And it's because I've started to find this group of people that I can be 100% myself, and I can kind of take who I am as a person to the next level, because they challenge me. I can speak freely, I can be freely, and other opportunities are being presented because of that. So with community comes a lot. I think we
Mhm.
underestimate the power of what being social can do and just being physically present, because sometimes you don't even have to say anything. You just got to be in the room with the people.
Connections happen. Energy is red and energy is contagious. And I have to say this before we lose it. Choose from courage, not from fear.
Mm,
You just said that. Choose from courage, not from fear. That makes my eyes well. That is it. That is in a nutshell, Lexi, what you did. You chose to let go of the things that were holding you back, and you chose courage over fear, and you continue to do that, and you will continue to rise. Ah, thank you. Oh my
Thank
goodness.
you.
thank you.
So to our audience, if you love what this message is, again, we talk about this in Authentic Conversations all the time. Who are the 5 people around you? Are they lifting you up? Are they supporting you? And it's okay to change that community and to find, like you said, like see, in a yoga class is where you found your community, not in a theater group, right? So sometimes just going to change the energy, do something different will guide you and doors will open. That conversation with that person, even in the supermarket, you find out who they do and what they do becomes a different and a new relationship. So guys, if you love what you've heard today, if you are listening to us on our podcast and Spotify, please share. This is how we get the word out. We are here to support you. We are here to lend you that community, that if you are feeling like you don't have it, come and listen to us. That's what we're here for. This is why we're bringing our guest artists who are part of our community, who have come and reminded us that our light is shining by once we light somebody else's light. So that is what Authentic Conversation is here for. So share the word, spread it, and thank you for supporting us. Hit the like button. You guys know what we need so that we can keep going. And again, it's for us, it's if one person listens to this today and it's reminded that that little niggling feeling that they have, that something is not right, and that they need to just take a leap of faith, that just by doing so without knowing what the outcome will be, then we did our job today. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lexi. Thank you, Susan, for being here today. Have a good day.
Yes.
Yay,
Thank you
thank
for having me.
you.